related question is that, does the reason empirically qualify to the basic components and assumptions of the concept of complex interdependence, whether these all things are happening in this reason or not? Although this reason is a suitable case for cooperation, but whether it is happening or not, whether complex interdependence is witnessed there or not. So I'll just, in this context, I'll try to understand different components or different determinants or different parameters which was generally discussed in the different complex interdependence conceptual framework, and one of them is availability of multiple channels. As we have a number of channels of dialogue, that is why there is a possibility of cooperation. And SAC is an example of this. And we all know that although we have some history of some roughly around 3 decades, it's not taking shape in as a way we supposed to do. So the pace of institutionalization and integration is very slow in this context. And it's my own understanding that I feel that even because of this Indo-Pak equation, during last 1.5 decades, India has also been showing its intent to evolve alternative IGOs like BIMSTEC, like IOR, ARC, and other Ganga Mekong Cooperation, someone was talking yesterday. So these all are some of the alternative. My understanding that SARC has not taken is that not that much effective which is supposed to be. But I am not a pessimist that it will not take, because one of my students raised this issue yesterday that ASEAN started in 1967 and it took some roughly around 50 years to reach this status, and so is the case of European Union. So we should not be pessimist about that, but the present situation is like that. Then also the another issue, another channels, we can say that presence of sub and transnational state actors. Sir was talking on this. Even we had a hot kind of discussion in the earlier sessions that whether para-diplomacy is a channel or not, whether states should be given certain rights or certain things to do, even they can forge a relationship with other neighboring countries or not. Because if we say that in Bangladesh, the problem of Bangladesh is totally is related to somehow Assam and other northeast countries. Similar is there UP and Bihar's problem is related to Nepal. We cannot see a sustained peace or sustained development pattern without cooperation in that level. So this is one of the way where we can give a certain level of liberty to states to take decisions. But it is an area where we have to see, and we have not seen that it's working in a way, because also institutional mechanism and constitution doesn't allow foreign affairs comes under federal list and like that. So this can be, then also various tracks of diplomacy. We know that 1.25, 1.5 track 2 diplomacy and so on and so forth. We have a number of channels of discussion. Although sir was also telling that this is now developing in other areas, but I am afraid that it is not developing in a way in South Asia in a way which it is developing in other areas like India and China, even India and USA. Other areas are far ahead. From other areas are far ahead than that. Then other channel TNCs and NGOs. These all three I feel that having shown very limited content as if now. Second proposition, when complex interdependence theory, the concept they say that multiple issues. As issues are more, even the problem of absolute gain and relative gain, those all things can be neutralized in other sector. If you have absolute gain in one sector, it can be neutralized in other sector. I have already discussed these points earlier, so I will not repeat it. Then third major proposition, assumption, what complex interdependence concept mentions is the ineffectiveness of military force, because it believes that it harms multiple interests, and as Professor Arvind was telling that time, it also raises the cost of cost of war. So these all are some of issues which are one of the assumptions which complex interdependence deals with. But when we see the present situation in South Asia, the things are entirely different. I have given one fact that what I got that between 95 to 2000, the military expenditure of South Asia increased by 50%. So in GDP term, this increase is from 1.8% to 2.1%, and further 2.4% in 2010. I have compared it with the European Union because I thought that the European Union is one of area which can be understood as a case for successful complex interdependence, and in that area the situation is just reverse. In 1995, in GDP term, 2.1% was military expenditure, and it decreased to 1.8% in 2005. So that contrast we can see in these two regions. So even in this context, military cost or military expenditure is not decreasing, rather it is increasing. And then last assumption which complex interdependence talks about is importance of economics in the field of when we are talking about complex interdependence. Generally, it is generally driven by economic factors, and which also we can see that in spite of the fact that there is a liberalization and then other opening up has taken place in these all countries, but again intra-SAARC trade is, as Sir talked yesterday, it's not crossed 5%. The region has attracted a lot of forex reserve and FDI, but again intra-FDI flow is negligible. And also we all know that SAFTA-induced economic integration has not gone far away. We say it's a very sluggish. So these are this is my assessment that whether complex interdependence is effective in this region or not, and whatever I have found on the basis of empirical things that it is not very effective. So another relative question is that why it is not so effective. So what are the impediments? And then when I'll deal this, I'll discuss this question. I will feel that a lot of issue out of this have already been discussed in the various sections. But still, I'll just see that these are the sum of regions which has prevented development of complex interdependence in the region. And the first is that shadow of world system or great power rivalry on this region. This region is not isolated subsystem, although we said that it is a subsystem, but it is not immune from the whatever happening from at the global level, and directly or indirectly the influence is can be visible in this region. This is one of the major cause for that. Second is internal polity and politics, and one paper discussed this issue that internal politics play a very important role in the foreign policy making. And there is when we see that in this region also internal politics is playing very important role, because as we know that for having any kind of sustained cooperation, shared political value is very important. Sharing of value is very important, and it can be only possible when we have similar kind of political system and political processes going on in all of the countries, and at some level there is a kind of commonality. But it's not happening in this region. We all know that in different countries democratic transition is going on, but we are not sure that whether this democratic transition is going in a proper direction or not. Because if we say Pakistan's example, in Pakistan even the concept of democratic peace model is not applicable. It's not working. Because when army comes there, the relationship between India and Pakistan is more peaceful than the democratic regime. So the whole concept of this that democracies don't fight war, it's not applicable in the context of this region. So and also all you know that when some of the states survival is based on anti-India rhetoric. That is why they don't want to a kind of grow good relationship with India. and also socio-economic and ideological background of ruling elites in India's neighbors, like party politics, feudal nature of a kind of power structure in other countries. If you say structure of Pakistan's army, it's totally means dominated by feudal social class. And also, as you know, that a lot of literature, including one of essence of decision making, in that you will feel that organizational behavior play major domestic determinant in foreign policy orientation. And then organizational behavior of military and ISI like organizations is not very friendly towards India. So this can be one of the reasons which with the domestic political cause which is not helping India and other countries to come or to grow this complex interdependence. And then also leadership crisis, this is we all know. And this also, these